Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has officially cancelled an Israeli delegation's visit to the White House this week. In a post on social media platform X, the Prime Minister's office said that the decision was made in light of the change in the U.S. position. The U.S. decision to abstain on the vote prompted Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to cancel a scheduled trip to the U.S. by two of his top advisors. The U.S. abstention on Monday's vote allowed the latest resolution on Gaza to pass when the other 14 members of the 15-strong council voted yes. The resolution, put forward by the 10 non-permanent members of the Security Council, demands an immediate ceasefire for the month of Ramadan, the immediate and unconditional release of the hostages, and the urgent need to expand the flow of aid into Gaza. Jody Jacobs joins us to tell us more.
Just before that vote, Ramesh, because I wanted to explain to you those unusual scenes, because minutes before the meeting actually got underway, we saw this huge huddle of top diplomats inside the council with last-minute negotiations, because the push here from the elected 10 members of the UN Security Council was to ensure that this vote does not get vetoed by the United States, even though they had said on Friday that the intention was that they don't necessarily agree with the resolution or the language thereof, but they participated in the negotiations which took place over the weekend. And of course, as you've now been reporting, that resolution is now passed. What it ultimately calls for is an immediate ceasefire for the remainder of the month of Ramadan. So there's about 2 weeks left of Ramadan. An immediate ceasefire now needs to be implemented. Also, there's a line that calls for the immediate release of all of the hostages, which now needs to be undertaken, and then unimpeded humanitarian access into Gaza. Now, we also know this comes on the back of reports yesterday by the United Nations, where they said that Israel has now decided that they're going to block all aid going into northern Gaza. So, of course, this legally binding document, which is a UN Security Council resolution, which is the only legal sort of binding document from the United Nations, is now going to force Israel, of course, to ensure that that the ceasefire, together with Hamas, is implemented, that Hamas releases all of the hostages, and of course that they don't impede any further access of humanitarian aid into Gaza. The resolution goes a step further in saying that this is obviously the first part of it, but ultimately the end goal here is for a sustained permanent ceasefire within Gaza.